Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, mates, and welcome to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, greeting you on this 16th day of March, Wednesday, 2022. Welcome to the program, and thank you to all of you who are subscribers of Cignal TV, viewers of One News PH, particularly our program Agenda here on channels 8 and channel 250 for those of you with high definition television. Now, you can also watch Agenda via facebook.com/onenewsph. Just search for Agenda. And you can watch us also via YouTube, essentially searching for One News PH and or Agenda. Okay. Now today, just for those of you who are wondering what will today's program be, it's quite interesting. First up, we are going to be talking, well, actually two. One is of a national concern, one is of a motoring concern. Kasi po, marami sa inyo bumabiyahe, bumabalik na sa inyong mga sasakyan. We decided it might be a good idea to start featuring topics that will be helpful for you. So today, we start the program interviewing the technical research and development head of Motolite batteries. Okay, bakit po? Hindi po ito commercial plugging, but in the interest of making people realize the importance of your car battery. Because time and again, as a motoring journalist, as a car restoration buff, I have come across so many nightmares of so many motorists. Many of you think your batteries are going to last forever. They don't realize that batteries have a real shelf life that is almost accurate to the month, if not 2 months. Anyway, we will be talking to the technical research and development head of Motolite Philippines, Prince Elmer Reyes, para malaman ninyo ano ba yung iba-ibang klaseng baterya and ano ba yung mga bagay sa sakyan nyo, etc., etc. After we speak with Prince Elmer Reyes, we will then shift gears and interview Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire, and we will find out what is the status of the health the status of healthcare, of COVID, of vaccination, etc., in the Philippines, because it has been announced that the level 1 has been expanded. So, yung iba po sa inyo dyan, pwede nang magsaya. Katulad sa Batangas, alert level 1 na. So, yung mga kaibigan ko sa Bungero ay nagpipiesta na. Okay, so we'll go to all of that later, but first, let's go to our daily starter. Nakaugalian na po natin to begin the day with a thought, a praise, a biblical phrase or proverb. And today, something more practical. It is, here's our daily starter. Hard work will always overcome natural talent when natural talent does not work hard enough. Okay? Kasi pero sa inyo mga kumbaga gamay ko na yan kasi magaling ako dyan, etc. Remember, hard work, kasipagan, will always overcome natural talent. Kahit anong galing mo, kung hindi ka nag-iinsayo, hindi ka nagpupursige, wala. Tatalunin ka pa rin ni Mr. Masipag. Okay, now let's go to today's front page of the Philippine Star. Yan po, Wednesday, March 16, 2022, House Panel OK's Bill amending oil deregulation law. Our representatives in the House of Congress have put together a bill or a proposal to amend the oil deregulation law. Ang problema lang ay bill lang yun. Gumawa lang sila ng kanilang proposal, but until President Rodrigo Duterte calls for a special session of Congress, walang mangyayari. Okay, sabi nga siya, wala mangyayari. Okay, so that's the situation. Top of the front page, the header, 12 billion shabu shipment intercepted in Quezon Town. Okay, the law enforcement people of PDEA were able to, I believe, PNP were able to block a shipment worth 12 billion pesos, okay, at a checkpoint in Infanta, Quezon yesterday. Ito pong mga shabu na ito were packed in tea bags na naman and were dropped off in between Polillo and Balisin Island in Quezon, and then by using GPS and satellite phones ay pinick up ng mga drug smugglers, kinarga sa bangka, and was put in 3 vans. Okay, mabuti na lang natunugan ng PNP. Ayun, huli sila. Okay. On the other side, drivers ay selling food for extra income. Nagsabi na yung mga driver, particularly jeepney organizations, Liga ng Transportasyon at Operator sa Pilipinas, that many drivers are now faced with the difficult choice to drive or to look for other means of livelihood, because the operating of or driving a jeepney is no longer profitable. In fact, maswerte na raw kung maka-break even. Meanwhile, that center photo is a picture at the top, a picture of tricycle drivers who were given 500 peso, okay, 500 peso fuel vouchers. Okay, and below that, namang yung nasa baba niyan, MMDA libreng sakay. Clearly, the MMDA is not going to wait, is not taking chances. They are now preparing 6x6 trucks to work as transport vehicles in case drivers go on strike. Ayun, sa bagay, nasa inyo na rin naman lahat ng kinita diyan sa gasolina in terms of excise tax, yung gobyerno, di gobyerno na lang ang mag-operate. Yun naman ang gustong gawin dati pa ng mga opisyal, right? Na let's modernize transport. Ayan, yeah, very modern. 6x6 ang sasakyan, wala nang aircon, wala pang kutsyon. Alert level 1 stays in NCR and other areas. Okay? Ito po, napakalawak na area, 47 areas under level 1. Okay? Aside from the NCR, the many places in Calabarzon, Northern Luzon, South Luzon, etc., will be placed under alert level 1. So that's good news for business owners, mga may restaurant, etc., etc., dahil pwede na silang magpunuan ng customer. Meanwhile, the Office of the Ombudsman, through Samuel Martires, has announced that they will do a motu proprio. Kumbaga, magkukusa sila, kusang loob sila. They will undertake motu proprio investigation of the tupad anomalies or anomalies involved in the fund transfers for displaced workers from DOLE. Kasi dyan daw po sa Quezon City, ang nangyari daw po ay may mga nangumisyon. Some money was waylaid to congressional staff members in District 2, yata yung nabasa ko, and also to some barangay workers. Kumbaga kahit sa tupad, yung tulong na nakotongan pa. That photo to the middle, lower part of the star, workers arrange printed ballots for May elections at the National Printing Office. 1 billion peso allotted for expanded face-to-face classes. In addition po yan, in addition to the existing budget of the DepEd. Kasi sabi ni Secretary Liling Briones, maniguro na tayo. Huwag na tayo mag-intay na magkaroon ng shortage, mga running out of supplies or salaries or whatever. So they added 1 billion because they expect more and more schools will be joining the face-to-face classes. Right now, and as I think there's about 6,000 plus schools that have already joined since last week. Meanwhile, in a Senate hearing, it was reported to the Senate panel by the National Security Deputy Director General Rufino Lopez that there have been intrusions also in the Benham rice or the Philippine rice. Hindi po yung kanin, yan po yung mga batuhan, mga bahura diyan po sa gawi of Aurora province. Okay, so challenge or the Coast Guard, the Philippine Navy have challenged these intrusions, but they are undermanned. Okay, so yan na po ang front page ng Philippine Star. And we now go back to the main part of our program. Sabi ko na nga sa inyo, many of you, biglang after so long, hindi ginamit yung kotse, hinugasan, binakyong, pag-start, tick. Or, wala, patay si baterya. Hindi nyo alam, you don't realize that your batteries have a shelf life. Hindi po lang yan warranty. Shelf life po ang tawag dyan. It's usually dependent on the kind of battery that you bought. But I won't play expert. I will play with an expert, okay? Let's bring in a chemical engineer and adjunct professor in UP Diliman. Okay, he is the head of the technical research and development at Motolite Philippines, Sir Prince Elmer Reyes. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning din, sir. Magandang umaga.
Relax lang, Prof. Kwentuhan lang to. Ikaw naman, pa. Pareho naman tayo mahilig sa baterya. Anyway, good morning. How's everything? Kamusta naman po dyan sa Motolite? How is business ka? Nagkakalimutan bang bumili ng baterya yung mga motorista at ngayon bigla kayong dinadagsa?
Okay naman yung negosyo. I mean, coming from the pandemic, nung yung lockdown ng 2020 na yun medyo ano talaga, naapektuhan din kasi kukunti ang tumatakbong sasakyan. Pero with this easing of restrictions starting last year and this year, ano na tayo? Kumbaga more or less back to normal na.
Back to normal. Hindi ba meron kayong parang hatid saklolo or something? I understand you have a program where pag biglang tumirik, tawag ka lang ng isang number, ayan na, dadali ng motorsiklo. Pakikwento nga lang para at least yung mga natirikan ngayon, alam nila.
So, yun sir, meron tayong Motolite Express Hatid or actually, in-expand na natin yung program. We call it Rescue. RES hyphen Q, so Rescue, which is downloadable as an app. So pwede na rin siya sa app, pwede rin tawagan. So kung meron tayong problema, actually kahit hindi sa baterya, it's a number or it's a service na matatawagan natin for roadside assistance.
Ayun, kasi kumisa naman, it's not necessarily the battery that's the problem. Sometimes it's just the connection, may mga loose terminal o may pumutok na fuse or kailangan i-reset, etc. Di po ba?
Correct sir. Yeah.
Okay, now, Professor, baka pwede mo namang kwentuhan yung ating mga viewers because I know for a fact, having been a motoring journalist, na A lot of consumers bili lang ng bili, gamit lang ng gamit, but
Mm.
they don't really understand what is the right size. Kasi katulad ko, nung umpisa, pasaway ako. Ayoko ng maliit. Gusto ko malaking baterya. Pero sabi naman nung sa akin ng isang expert, may topa ka talaga, Beltran. Nilagyan mo nga ng malaking baterya. Tumabingi naman yung harapan ng kotse mo. Okay.
Yeah, tama kayo sir. Meron tayong merong tamang size based sa OEM o dun sa manufacturer ng baterya. So sa bawat modelo ng sasakyan. So actually it's very important to know that today since sabihin natin in the past 5 years or so, marami mga car manufacturers are shifting to different battery size. So yung familiar tayo siguro yung 1SM, 2SM, 3SM na battery size, which is yun yung typically na ginagamit sa mga sa most cars in the Philippines, which are mostly made in Japan. So and we have another type naman, yung mga DIN type, DIN or yung European type. Dati mas ginagamit siya sa mga European cars like Mercedes, Volkswagen, BMW, etc. But over the past 5 years, itong mga, even the Japanese car manufacturers like Toyota and American car manufacturers like Ford are also shifting to these European sizes. So itong mga DIN size. Makikita natin siya kasi yung mga poste niya, yung terminal post nakalubog dun sa cover.
Oh, so, kasi yung sinaunang baterya, napansin ko yung mga panahon namin, kwadrado karamihan. They're squarish and they're high. And yes, yung correct. Terminal nila laging nakausli. And laging nakalitaw yung terminal or yung polyo, kung sabihin ng iba poles or whatever. But I also remember that is the number one reason na nagkakaroon ng short circuit o nasusunugan yung mga sasakyan. Kasi maglalagay ng malaking baterya, hindi naintindihan na tatama pala dun sa hood ng kanilang kotse. Di po ba?
Tama ho yan. So actually, yung nagiging favored kasi yung European design ng battery. That's one of the reason. May iba pang technical reasons sa manufacturing related naman. Kumbaga mas madali siya i-manufacture yung iba-ibang types. Pero that's one of the reason yung terminal. Kasi yung mga terminal ng European sizes, kaya siya nakalubog. Nagsimula yan doon sa Volkswagen. Kung matatandaan nyo yung mga lumang Volkswagen, ang baterya nasa ilalim ng upuan.
Yes.
So kailangan yung hindi nakausli yung poste.
Nga naman ang dami kong alam na nasunugan ng silya ng Volkswagen na yung mga Beetle nung sinauna in the 60s and 70s dahil pag lumambot na yung silya o mabigat-bigat yung umupo, tutuko doon sa baterya, biglang umuusok na yung puwitan nila.
Correct, sir. So that's actually the main reason kung bakit nakalubog yun. And as I was saying, ngayon nga, over the past 5 years or so, even Japanese and American manufacturers are shifting towards DIN. So it's important one of the most important thing is to make sure na tama yung size at saka yung rating ng battery para dun sa sasakyan. So even kasi with the DIN sizes, meron ding iba-ibang size within that. Meron from LN1 hanggang LN5. So yun, kumbaga in a way equivalent siya nung 3SM, 2SM, 3SM na mas kilala natin.
Yung variation na yan, yung 1SM, 2SM o kaya yung LN1, LN2 up to LN5, is it a variation of capacity? Kasi kumbaga sa bumbilya, hindi ba? There is 5 watts, there is 12 watts, there is 18 watts. In battery, in car batteries, what do those numbers represent?
Yeah, tama ka sir. It's a variation in capacity. So usually yung mga higher number mas matataas ang capacity, which is more appropriate sa mga higher larger engines. Kasi yung nagdidikta naman ng size ng baterya is yung size ng makina. So the larger your engine is, the larger the battery should be. Now correspondingly, yung capacity yung higher capacity means physically it's a larger battery also. Okay. So
Okay, kasi pag i-start mo nga naman, if you're going to start a 1-liter engine versus a 2.63 or 5.7 liter, yung starter at starter pa lang, palakihan na yun ng starter kasi ang lalaki ng mga piston na papaanda rin.
Yes sir. So yung size ng makina, and another aspect is yung type ng sasakyan, kung diesel ba siya o gas. So yung mga gas powered na engine for the same engine displacement, mas maliit ang battery size kumpara sa diesel. Kasi kung halimbawa yung mga pickup na diesel, automatic 3SM kaagad. So yung mga Innova naman, halimbawa between Innova na gas at saka diesel, yung mga dati it's 2SM yung gas, 3SM yung diesel. Yung ngayon, since nasa European type na siya, LN2 yung gas, LN3 yung diesel.
Okay. So basta lumaki. What about yung mga sasakyan? Kasi alam mo, na-interview ko kahapon si Joel Pedro ng Overland Kings. Napag-usapan namin is camping, etc. And then I know of a lot of people who are now going out of town 4x4s na. Mahilig bang maglagay ng akala, feeling nila Meralco sila. Puro sila spotlight. Akala mo may studio eh. Ang dami nilang spotlight, ang dami nilang bubot, and then syempre lagi naka-aircon. Because may mga nagsasabi, nako, kung lagi ka, if you're always using your car aircon, you better make sure you have a bigger battery. I mean, how true are these things?
That's true, sir. You need a bigger battery, but of course to the dimensions lang na kayang i-fit dun sa sasakyan. Yeah, kasi I've also been to Overland, and nakita ko nga yung sa terminal, 7 yung nakakonect na wire.
Oh.
May pang winch, may pang kung ano-ano.
Oh. So, anong advice nyo sa mga ganon?
Pagka ganun sir, kasi even within the same size, meron naman tayong iba-ibang tier. So we strongly suggest na for those batteries na maraming accessory is to get the highest tier, which is yung Motolite XL.
Okay. Now, okay, let's go there, no? Kasi sa dami na gusto ko itanong sir, hindi ko na alam kung ano unahin ko eh. Okay, so pinag-uusapan natin yan. Maraming requirements, consumption requirements, pero sabi mo, it must fit the battery box or the battery compartment. Now, some geniuses like Mr. Beltran has this crazy idea, hindi problema yan, i-series lang natin. O parallel ba tawag doon? Di ko na matanda. Magbibili ng pangalawang baterya, ilalagay sa puwetan. Meron namang iba, maglalagay ng pagkalaki-laking battery. They buy a big battery and put it in the back of the car and just have long cables. Now, what's the fact behind that? I mean, is that good? Is that bad? Does that really work? Or are you just wasting money?
That could work, okay, but we'll have to look at the actual loads in the connections. So kasi yun nga, should it be series or parallel, it should actually be parallel para 12 volts pa rin, kasi pag
parallel,
magiging 24 volts na siya. So that's one thing to look at. The other thing to look at is how is the secondary battery being charged? Kasi if it is nadidiskarga siya ng load, dapat ma-charge din siya. So ultimately naman ang mag-charge nun kung sa kotse is yung alternator. So dapat nakakabit din siya sa alternator, and it has to be fit securely. So and yung size, kung secondary battery tapos ilalagay sa likod, hindi na siya masyadong limited ng space. So it could be a larger battery. But then again, we have to do some computations to make sure that yung ikakabit na baterya is appropriate at saka yung connections are also appropriate. Depende rin kasi sir sa load. But to answer your question, yeah, it can make sense in several cases to do that.
Okay, kung talagang malaki yung power requirement mo,
Correct,
katulad yung mga may winch, may mga floodlights, ginagamit ng pampalamig ng onboard ref, etc. Now, pero yung paano yung iba na naglalagay, who put big batteries in the boot or in the back of the car, in the trunk, at nagke-cabling na lang kasi sabi nila, pareho na naman kuyang, plus we distribute the weight and we have a bigger battery. Imbis na may maliit kang baterya sa harap, maglagay ka na ng malaking baterya sa puwitan. Yung bang extending the power cable or the battery cable, pag lumayo ba yan masyado doon sa starter, doon sa alternator, may epekto ba yan? Or pareho lang yan basta tama yung mga koneksyon?
Meron din siyang epekto sir, especially kapag pero conforme din dun sa size ng mga kable kasi lahat ng wire nagkakaroon ng transmission losses or resistance losses through the wires. So mas mahaba yung tinatakbo ng kable, mas mahaba yung kable, mas malaki yung resistance losses. Pero kung mas manipis din yung kable. So again, medyo kailangan siyang kwentahin kung ano yung appropriate na kapal ng kable para sa haba niya. At tapos tama rin yung binanggit nyo, kailangan siguraduhin secure yung connection.
Okay. Yung pong type of cables, because when you go to an auto supply, they provide you different kind of cables, different kind of wire. Kasi meron yung parang makakapal, thick yung wire, stranded wire. Meron naman yung almost hair, fine hair ang stranded wire. May mga nagsasabi mas makapal, mas mabuti. Yung ba naman nagsasabi if you use battery cables, it's always good to use yung mga parang buhok, parang steel brush, parang brush.
Sir, kasi yung mga stranded, kumbaga same lang siya ng thickness pero meron kasing solid na wire tapos meron namang for the same thickness it actually consists of parang hundreds of small wires. So maganda yung maliliit na wires in the sense na mas kukonti kasi yung eddy currents at saka yung magiging resistance loss doon. Kasi kumbaga yung kuryente makakadalo siya per wire tapos hindi siya yung eddy currents yung parang basically umiikot yung kuryente. Kumbaga dahil mas maliliit yung wire, mas directed yung flow ng current, mas kukonti yung transmission losses.
Okay, now let's talk about batteries themselves, no? Kasi we're running out of time. Now, maraming nagko-complain. I'll be honest, Professor, no? Ano ba naman? Kakabili ko pa lang. Patayin na kagad yung baterya ko. Teka. Kailan mo binili yan? 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago or 2.5 years ago. And then andali, ano yung warranty mo? Patingin na. Paki-explain nga. Can you please explain to our buyers the shelf life concept of batteries? Because some people have gotten accustomed to, they last forever. They don't.
Siyempre, hindi naman siya naglalast forever. Pero tama kayo. So may warranty, may shelf life, may or service life. So and yung warranty is related sa service life, yung talagang natural na buhay ng baterya. We try to give the best warranty possible that we can for each battery type. So and depende siya doon sa rating ng baterya. So as you might know, we have batteries guaranteed for 12 months, 15 months, 21 and 24 months. So pero yun yung ginaguarantee naming minimum na life niya. Now of course, there are factors in production. There are also factors in usage na nakaka-affect to doon sa actual na magiging buhay ng baterya. So Pero yung service life naman namin, it's actually arranged kasi nga depending on those factors, particularly yung paggamit. So meron mga kung gumamit ng sasakyan once a week lang, meron na mga pang Grab o pang taxi na halos yung gamit ng sasakyan. So um, yun yung mga nakakaapekto sa service life ng mga baterya. So at saka yung nabanggit nyo kanina na halimbawa yung matagal na hindi na gamit yung baterya, so that also leads to self-discharge. So and that's also a factor that affects the life of the battery. So maganda kasi yung pinakamagandang buhay ng baterya kapag regular lang use niya pero hindi naman sobrang dalas katulad ng sa taxi. Pero hindi naman sobrang dalang na tipong once a month lang nilalabas yung sasakyan.
Naku, maraming sasakyan na ganyan ngayon. Okay, now last question ko na lang. Can you please explain to us, so meron talagang shelf life. Merong 12 months, 15 months, 21 and 24 months.
Correct.
Yun yung warranty.
Yun yung warranty.
But normally, they last a few months longer than that, right?
Not just a few months naman. It's arranged, sir. Yung average is mga 1.5 times ng warranty period.
1.5 times. Okay. Yeah. So basta wag lang bugbog at nagagamit ng maayos. Now, last question ko na lang, Professor. For Motolite, you mentioned kanina, you have the Excel model or Excel brand. Dati, I used to get gold. Now, ano bang kaibahan niya mga yan? Kasi alam mo, kung minsan parang feeling ko sinesales stock ako ng suki ko. Sabi ko, pwede ba? Baterya lang din naman yan. Pareho namang Motolite yan. Huwag mo na ako i-sales stock. Pero hindi, kuya, may kaibahan talaga. Can you please, just as our last question, what are the different models and what makes them apart?
Sige sir. So meron siya mga common features muna quickly. So yung common features ng lahat ng battery natin, they are tropicalized, which means we specifically designed them for tropical climate because we also export batteries to other countries, to Australia, to the US. So and iba yung design para sa mga temperate regions. So that's something common about them. Now, what differentiates Excel from the other brands is that the plates of Excel, we purposely designed them for long life. Okay, so it's using thicker plates and yun nga yung mga nabanggit ko kaninang features na pan-tropicalized, and we also added features in the separator. Basically, features that will allow it to last for at least 24 months, even more and even more.
Okay, so Excel is better than just the usual models. So,
yes,
kumbaga, no, the models are all okay, pero yung Excel, ika nga excels. Anyway, thank you very much, Professor Prince Elmer Reyes, Technical Research and Development Head of Motolite Philippines. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you din, sir. Thank you for having me, and magandang araw sa inyo at sa mga taga-subaybay ninyo.
Okay, just a quick reminder to all of you car owners, motorists, pag bibili po kayo ng baterya, try to find a small sharp object o kita ninyo, mababaw lang, ano? Put your name and date of when you bought the battery, because there are people who have been victimized in repair shops, gas station, etc., or even by some, your own driver could be a crook na they steal the battery, your brand new battery, and replace it with a clean but old battery, and then when it dies, you complain at the Motolite or the service, ang dumali pala siya, driver mo, mekaniko, etc. So, para walang sisihan, lagyan nyo ng pangalan yung inyong baterya. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, we will speak with Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire to give us an update of our health status in the Philippines, etc. etc. Parang Yul Brynner, mabuti na lang may buhok pa. Thank you. We'll be right back. Good day to all of you. Welcome back to the program agenda. And on the second part of our show today, we are blessed to have Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire to give us updates and information regarding our health status in the country, and particularly regarding the alert levels, the vaccinations, and this supposed reported sub-variant na naman ng Omicron that is infesting and giving problems to our neighbors. Let's bring in Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning po, sir. Magandang umaga po sa inyo. Magandang umaga po sa lahat ng nakikinig at sumusubaybay sa inyo.
Okay, ma'am, mukhang hindi ko alam kung muten academic na itong mga balita regarding alert level 1, alert level 0, because some people are saying, bakit pa pinag-uusapan yan? Lahat naman tayo nakalaya na at mukhang lahat, karamihan sa atin na bakunahan na. But just for purposes of public information, where are we in terms of vaccinations and alert status? Talaga bang meron pang alert level 0? Kailangan pa ba yun?
Yes, sir. No? So sa ngayon po, pag tinignan natin po ang ating mga datos, lahat po ng areas sa ating bansa, provinces, highly urbanized cities, and independent component cities ay nasa low to minimal risk na po tayo. Ito po ay bihira na mangyari sa atin. In the past, nung December po na bumaba rin ang kaso natin in 2021, meron ho tayong mga mas maraming areas na low to minimal risk, pero meron pa rin nagmo-moderate risk. But this time around, lahat po ng ating areas ay low to minimal risk. Ang atin pong healthcare utilization ngayon, ang atin pong mga ward beds ay only at around 18% utilization. And for our ICUs, only almost 20% utilization. So pag tinignan ho natin yung dalawang metrics na yan, makikita ho natin talaga na patuloy na bumababa ang ating mga kaso. In terms of vaccination, nagkaroon na po tayo ng mas mataas na antas ng pagbabakuna. Although hanggang sa ngayon nga po ay tinitignan pa rin natin paano natin mararating yung mga ating kababayan na talagang hindi makaalis ng bahay o kaya ay hesitant. So we are having this bayanihan bakunahan. But by and large, pag tinignan ho natin, malaki na ho ang naging accomplishments natin sa pagbabakuna. Nakapagbakuna na ho tayo ng almost 63 million individuals fully vaccinated dito sa ating bansa. At patuloy ho natin tinataas ang antas ng pagbabakuna. So pag tinignan ho natin lahat yan, sa tingin natin ito ay nakakatulong so dun sa patuloy na pagbaba ng kaso sa ating bansa. As to alert levels, we now have a total of about 63 areas in the country which had been placed on alert level 1. The rest are in alert level 2. So pag tinignan natin, mababa pa rin ang klasifikasyon na yan. Kakaunti na ang restrictions kapag alert level 1 and alert level 2. But we still need the alert level kasi kailangan pa rin po natin to closely monitor our situation. Ang alert level system po, hindi po yan naandyan para lang sabihin kung ano yung ating klasifikasyon. Ito po ay ginagamit na pang-monitor ng ating mga area so that we will know what actions to do kapag kami tumaas na kaso man o bumababa ang kaso. So we are all guided. As to alert level 0, Actually, sir, I just like to inform the public, this has been in internal term, no? Na ginagamit ng ating officials, pati ng DOH. Siguro na sa pag-uusap, nagagamit na rin mayat-maya ng ating mga officials, kaya po kumakalat. Pero the alert level 0 is really something that we were thinking as the transition for us to get into the new regime of this alert level system. Dahil alam natin, patuloy na bumababa ang kaso. So kung patuloy na bababa ang kaso, pagkatapos natin mag-alert level 1 at lahat ng area sa bansa ay alert level 1 na, what's the next for all of us? Kaya lumabas po yung alert level 0. But I understand at kami po ang nagsasabi, hindi naman kailangan lagyan ng 0 kasi wala na talagang alert level kung 0, di ba?
Exactly. Yun
Yes.
nga yung sinasabi ko kahapon eh. Bakit pa nyo sasabing alert level? 0 nga eh. Di 0 is 0, wala. Diba?
Tama po. Kaya sa tingin ko po, nagkaroon lang ng confusion. But really, the main objective of having this scenario would be, pag lahat na ng ating mga areas nag-alert level 1, dadating tayo sa point na hindi na lang yung ating mga minimum public health standards, restrictions ang tinitignan. Kailangan tignan na rin natin dun sa supply side. What are we supposed to do? We need to refocus our resources already. So dadating ba tayo sa punto na wala na dapat dedicated beds for COVID sa ating mga ospital? Dahil itong ating virus na ito, we are living with that, and therefore isasama na natin siya doon sa usual na ginagawa nating services sa ospital.
That's exactly what I wanted to jump to, Yusek, no? Because we've all said that eventually it will be endemic. As you mentioned, we will be living with the virus. We are vaccinated. We have the resources, the medicines to now properly deal with it. God forbid that except when something new, something different, and something worse crops up. But is that going to be the situation now? Parang endemic na lang yan, and or is it possible na sabihin, nawala na nga eh, nawala na sa Pilipinas?
Actually, sir, it's very risky for all of us to think that we are in that stage of endemicity already. Sa ngayon po, wala pa ho tayong kasiguruhan. Oo, bumababa ang mga kaso, pero the risk of having increase in cases is there. Pag tinignan ho natin ang nangyayari ngayon sa Europe, tumataas po uli ang kanilang mga kaso. Several countries in Europe already are having spikes in the number of cases because of the BA.2 variant ng Omicron. This is the sublineage, no? Pero pag tinignan naman natin, sa tingin ko at sinasabi nga ng ating mga experts, we are so blessed. Kasi yung pumasok po sa ating bansa na Omicron, mas nakadami ang BA.2 at ito po ang nagpo-cause ng mga increase in cases sa ibang bansa sa ngayon na kung saan tapos na tayo. So sana po magtuloy-tuloy po tayo at hindi na tayo pasukan ng ibang variants, but nothing is certain at this point, so we cannot be complacent.
You're a physician, Undersecretary, and I'm sure you're up to date with more of these medical announcements than I would ever be. But it's been observed, New Zealand, Hong Kong, and some other countries who tried to go for zero COVID, who tried to, blockade against COVID, compared to countries like the Philippines na we did our best. We tried to control it, but we were always realistic na you can't stop it from coming in. So kumbaga, two models. One model is all-out war. The other model was deal with it. And it seems that the Philippines has benefited more than Hong Kong, New Zealand, who are now, straddled, puzzled by the out of control number of cases. So anong masasabi mo as a doctor? Dapat ba, sabi nga iba, magpahawa na tayong lahat para tapos na yung COVID na yan?
I think unang-una sa Hong Kong, nagulat sila because they were implementing very strict measures tapos biglang napasukan sila tapos ang bilis kumalat. Ang isa sa nangyari sa Hong Kong, kaya talagang nagkaganon ang kanilang mga sitwasyon, ang daming mga elderly sa kanila na hindi bakunado. And this sector of society ng Hong Kong ang pumuno ng kanilang mga ospital. And suddenly, they were overwhelmed. And bukod doon, syempre, yung mga kaso ng mga milder diseases, meron pa rin, ano? So dagdag sa kanila 'yon. Sa tingin ko, it would all differ, no, for each country on how we prepare, because we have different resources, we have different settings. Ang sa tingin ko lang, masyadong nag-umpisang magluwag ang iba't ibang mga bansa. Katulad sa EU, ang ginawa nila ay hindi na nagmamask na lang pagpupunta sa mga enclosed spaces yung ibang bansa. Yung ibang bansa naman, nagkaroon sila nung sa EU, meron silang parang border na open, it's a network, kung saan kapag bakunado ka, wala nang quarantine, pasok ka na lang ng pasok at labas. Pag hindi ka bakunado, kailangan lang mo lang magpa-negative COVID-19 test and you're good to go. So these are the things that we had been observing. Yung parang early easing of restrictions have contributed to the spike in the number of cases. Pangalawa, it's not going to be different across countries, even here in the Philippines. Magkakaiba talaga tayo because we have different set of resources, we have different protocols, at iba po nga ang sa ating setting. Talagang tayo lang po talaga, we were blessed because the Omicron, nung pumasok po siya, mataas na po ang bakunahan dito sa ating bansa, and that has helped us a lot.
Okay, now, what about the incoming OFWs, of our opening of doors for tourists, etc.? Kasi sabi nga, may nagsabi sa akin, Kuyang, sobrang relax na sa Pilipinas. Kahit sino nakakapasok na. Is there a risk of us becoming too relaxed, as you pointed out?
Well, the risk would always be there, sir. Kaya lang, hindi tayo pwedeng risk averse. Yun po yung nangyari sa atin lahat, no? For this, throughout these 2 years of the pandemic. Masyado tayong naging risk averse. Hindi na natin alam kung paano natin i-manage yung risk. Now, we are shifting that mindset whereby dapat lahat tayo, marunong tayo mag-manage ng risk. Kaya itinuturo sa atin ng gobyerno, dapat tayo ay magpabakuna, dapat sundin natin yung mga minimum public health standards. Lagi tayo nakamask. Pag nakita nating matao na yung lugar, huwag na tayong pupunta muna. And so on and so forth. Because we cannot continuously lock down ourselves from other countries and also lock down our barangays and communities. That is not the way to go. We need to live with the virus starting now. And
Okay.
for us to live with the virus, we need to be managing our own risk.
Okay, having said that, what is the mindset of our officials at the DOH regarding risk management? Because during the pandemic or during the lockdowns in the Philippines, the DOH implemented a program whereby there were more stringent protocols for senior citizens like myself or for the minors. Now, everyone is now talking about work from, back to work, going back to normal. Pero what about senior citizens and minors? Is it back to normal also? Because apparently DepEd now wants to do face-to-face. Does the DOH feel it's safe enough?
Yes. If we compare before that DOH was recommending that minors and senior citizens should not be allowed outside, the situation then was very different. We had that risk of increasing number of cases. We had that risk because nobody has been vaccinated yet. Pero ngayon po, mas kumpiyansa tayo, mas kumpiyansa ang DOH to recommend that seniors and children should be allowed because there are vaccines already. Kailangan lang pong siguraduhin na ang ating mga nakakatanda ay mabakunahan. Yun pong sa eskwelahan, kailangan siguraduhin lahat ng teacher, lahat ng non-teaching staff ay bakunado para protektado po ang bata.
Okay, now, paano naman po yung vaccination program natin, Yusek? Kasi may mga nakausap ako sa probinsya and they are supportive of the government's vaccination program. Pero there seems to be an impression that in some provinces, cities, towns, there is no designated person in charge. Kumbaga, hindi, mga senior citizens, ayaw magpabakuna niyan eh. So, wala bang taong nagpupush talaga or is held accountable? I mean, di ba, parang during the COVID surges, even the president said, pag inaudit namin ang barangay nyo at marami ang kaso sa inyo, malilintikan kayo sa akin. Sabi ni President. I mean, I'm paraphrasing his words, no? But now, parang ang impression is, who's in charge to make sure that the remainder, the leftovers, are all vaccinated?
Yes, sir. No, it's still the local governments. Actually, ang ating system ngayon para we hold them na accountable would be the alert level system. Hindi ka makakarating sa alert level 1 kapag hindi mo narating yung target mo sa bakunahan. May target po tayo na meron tayong 70% dapat ng senior citizens na bakunahan mo dyan sa lugar mo. At dapat yun pong populasyon mo nakapagbakuna ka rin at least 70%. Kung hindi mo yan mararating, hindi ka makakapunta sa alert level 1. You wouldn't have this more eased restrictions in your area and your economy still medyo tight pa yan, limitado. So sa ngayon po, iyan po yung ginagamit natin. Kaya marami pa rin pong areas hindi makarating sa alert level 1 kasi hindi pa ho nila na-achieve yung vaccination target.
Is the accountability o yung pagkukulang na yan, dapat ba yan ACC kay gobernador o sa mayor? Kasi may naging issue yan sa Batangas eh. Marami akong mga nakausap na nagsabi, bakit hanggang ngayon ang tagal-tagal nating malagay sa alert level? Ay sabi ko, kasi maraming hindi bakunado. Now you're saying that it's all dependent on vaccination. Whose fault will that be? The governor or the mayor?
Well, it's not really the parang fault, no? Pero accountability po siguro na kailangan talaga magtutulong-tulong sila kasi ang isang probinsya made up of different municipalities or city, kailangan magkakasama para magkaroon ng isang buong coverage accomplishment ang probinsya. So the mayors has to help the governor so that the accomplishment para po sa bakunahan ay tumaas. So kailangan magtulong-tulong po. But in terms of accountability, lahat po sila sinisingil din ng ating mga vaccine cluster, pinupuntahan kung kailangan ng tulong dahil lahat po sila kailangan ay magtulong-tulong para tumaas ang antas ng pagbabakuna.
Will it come to a point? Kasi at least, I mean, congratulations. Marami na talaga. Na-shock nga ako kanina nung binasa ko yung dyaryo na ang dami ng area. There's so many areas that are already in alert level 1, which means congratulations to all of us. But will it be still at a provincial, regional, or will it ever reach na yung alert level 1 becomes, anong tawag ninyo doon? Yung parang sa lockdowns, kumbaga
Granular.
Granular lang. Okay, the town of so-and-so, the city of so-and-so, you're still on alert level 2 because you are not vaccinated.
Actually, without using the term or the alert level system, ginagawa na po ng local governments yan because they have that authority to implement. So yung ginagawa po nila ngayong mga granular lockdowns kapag tumataas ang kaso, it's just like the alert level system.
No, I mean, Yusek, sorry to cut in. But yung para sa alert level status, kasi yung granular lockdowns is for the number of cases, controlling the number of cases. But what about, kasi right now, so many provinces are already alert level 1, so bravo. Pero what happens if, let's say, in the province of Batangas, only one city or one town ang may problema? Will they be placed, kumbaga, under alert level 1 while the rest of the province is or alert level 2 while the rest is an alert level 1? Mangyayari ba yun?
We still reserve yung kung karapatan at authority ng local governments. That's why our measurements or metrics only applies to provinces, highly urbanized cities, and independent component cities. Comparing this to the granular lockdowns kung saan kaso ang pinag-uusapan ngayon, bakunahan ang pinag-uusapan, the local government officials through the governors should be able to facilitate and motivate his local officials dun sa local area nila para magpabakuna ang lahat. Para po magkaroon po ng pantay-pantay na alert level system. So hanggang probinsya lang po talaga ang measurement natin.
Ayun. Okay. Now, my last issue that I would like to take up, Yusek, kasi I don't know if you got to read my column last Monday, pero I wrote about a young lady who came to us for assistance kasi nagkaroon siya ng tumor sa dibdib and kailangan niyang magpa-biopsy. So sabi niya, "Kuyang, meron naman akong healthcare dahil worker ako sa factory, pero wala po akong pambayad doon sa RT-PCR ng hospital." And I was shocked kasi sabi ko, number one, di ba dapat cover na yan ng healthcare? Pero hindi raw. Number two, sabi ko, hindi ba pwede na yung antigen? Is the DOH doing something to, kind of control this? Kasi may mga hospital and private hospitals that are still insisting that if you enter their facility, you must have RT-PCR. Sabi ko, accepted mode na yung antigen eh. Hospital pa kayo, who would be in a better position to do that? But apparently, until the DOH says stop, it's not gonna stop.
Yes, sir. No? So unang-una, just like to inform everybody, no, ang ating pong protocols para po sa mga ospital, kapag ang isang tao ay mag-undergo ng procedure, that is an SOP of the hospital na kailangan matest siya kung siya ay may sakit na COVID o wala. So they use RT-PCR. Ang antigen test po natin, hindi po siya recommended to be used for persons without symptoms or for persons na for screening purposes, just like what the lady would have underwent through, no, kung sakasakali. Pangatlo, ang RT-PCR po, covered po yan ng PhilHealth, no? So, kung halimbawa po pupunta siya sa ospital and with the following indications kasama sa protocol ng PhilHealth, malilibre. Kaya lang, ang naging proseso po siguro talaga, kasi dun sa RT-PCR na libre ng PhilHealth, kapag kayo ay may simptomas, kapag kayo ay exposed, yun po yung mga nakalagay sa protocol. So, ito po mga non-COVID, no, na nangyayari ngayon, kailangan na ho nating i-shift talaga ang protocols natin to include this kind of instances, no? Katulad niyan, magpapa-procedure sa ospital, hindi pwedeng ilibre dahil wala sa protocol ng PhilHealth. They have to pay out of pocket. So that is what we are doing right now, shifting our protocols so that the benefits would be shifted also to non-COVID services, not just COVID services.
Who makes that decision, Yusek? Is that upon the recommendation of the DOH? Kasi parang most PhilHealth members, ang pag-aakala nila, kasali. Pero pagdating sa hospital, hindi kasali. So, who makes that recommendation? Is it the DOH?
Yes, sir. PhilHealth adopts whatever guidelines DOH issues. So, pag DOH po naglabas na ng guidelines, ang PhilHealth po susunod yan, i-adapt nila. Tapos yun na po yung magkakaroon ng benefit para po sa ating mga kababayan.
Paki na lang, Yusek, kasi alam nyo, pag may lumapit sa amin na may breast cancer, hindi pa nga nagsasalita, naluluha na ako because my own sister is now going through the nightmare of breast cancer and chemotherapy. Yung dapat palang binayaran ng PhilHealth, binayaran ng Beltran Health. Ay, buhay. Yaman mo na.
Pwede rin po, sir, so kung sakali you have the number of the patient, they can be referred, no? Sabihan nyo lang po kami so that we can help her.
Okay, buti na lang tayo ay nable-bless ni Lord, and buti na lang I'm sincere about this. I thank the Lord that you have remained healthy, protected. Never once were you infected by COVID, right?
No, I was last January po. Oo.
Magka-batch pala tayo. January rin ako tinamaan. January 7.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you very much, Yusek Vergeire, for at least educating us regarding the need for RT-PCR if you are going to have procedure in a hospital, but that should be covered by PhilHealth, although right now we will just rely upon your assistance to push PhilHealth na dapat back to normal na, hindi lang yung COVID-related cases.
Yes, sir. Maraming salamat din po, sir. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. God bless you, Yusek Maria Rosario Vergeire of the DOH. Meanwhile, allow me to read to you. Read to you. Dapat, ang haba ho kasi ng listahan ng mga alert level 1s. Paki-check na lang po sa DOH website or sa Philippine Star. But allow me to read to you the week's blessing on this day, Wednesday, March 16. It's from Zephaniah chapter 3:17. The Lord your God is in your midst, a warrior who gives victory. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will renew you in his love. He will exalt over you with loud singing. And please keep it here on Cignal, One News PH. And thank you for joining us here on Agenda. God bless all of you.